Welcome to the Champions of Active Women podcast. In each episode, we share stories and experiences of active female role models and individuals who support the active pursuits of girls and women. Our goal is to encourage and inspire girls and women to be active for a lifetime, to reach their goals, and to break new barriers in sport and life. This podcast is brought to you by the Active Women's Health Initiative in the Sports Medicine Research Institute at the University of Kentucky. The mission of the Active Women's Health Initiative is to optimize health and promote physical activity and wellness for girls and women across the lifespan. If you enjoy this podcast, you can make a donation to the Active Women's Health Initiative at uky.networkforgood.com. Your contribution helps us empower all girls and women to find their inner athlete and become athletes for life. Today, I am joined by Nicole Stork-Hestad. Nicole earned her master's degree in family science and is a PhD candidate in personal finance and family economics with certifications in financial counseling and financial therapy from the University of Kentucky. She is the owner of NSH Money Coaching, where she works with clients to create new money management systems that offer financial freedom, reduce stress, and build family wealth. Nicole is committed to incorporating physical activity into her own life and helping her clients prioritize self-care and wellness. She says, quote, "Exercise helps me calm every physical and mental cell in my body, allows me to focus, and gives my body the movement it needs in a structured and intentional way," end quote. Nicole is a mother to 3 children who are 7, 4, and 3 years. She is working to keep them moving and help each of her children find physical activities that bring them joy. Welcome, Nicole. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, it's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
So could you kick off our conversation by just sharing with our audience a little bit about what you do?
So I am a money coach, and what that means is that I help people actually look at their finances, evaluate what they're seeing, and then make decisions that are aligned with the life that they want to be living so that they use their earning and spending power in the most fully maximized way possible, while also reducing stress and creating like a simpler way to just use money in your life to get what you want.
And I loved our conversations previously about how that connects with wellness overall, and we'll dig into that later. But could you tell our audience a little bit about how you found this career?
Oh, I kind of made it up. I'm not going to lie to you, Dee. I didn't kind of make it up. I definitely made it up. I have a background in psychology. I've been in and around therapy and counseling for a long time. I've worked in a lot of different service industry sectors using a counseling approach to help people better their lives. And so when I found money by happy accident, in grad school, I was paired with a personal finance and family economics professor, and I just devoured everything there was to know about personal finance, read textbook after textbook, article after article, book after book, guru after guru. I just devoured it all. And I realized that people really need help with their money, but not just the mechanics of the money, like money coming into a bank account, money leaving, but really the mind on their money, and to really have a person help them hold space for all the emotions that come with money, and to really walk through their beliefs about money that may not even be their own. Maybe it's messaging that they've gotten from a young age or from cultural influences that is really limiting what they can do in their life and how they can use their money to buy just an extraordinary life if they wanted to. And so I saw this gap, I saw this need. And so I took a brave step and jumped into it. I jumped into the gap because, to be honest, it is quite rewarding to fill the gap between somebody's emotional needs and how they're using their money. So that's how I came to do it. I made it all up, and so far, so good.
I love it. And it must feel so good to know that you're helping people, but it's also something that you're really passionate about. And I can start to hear why you're passionate about it. But could you just share, the kinds of things that get you excited and passionate about this work?
Okay, so I could talk all day about this, so cut me off when you need to. But
Okay.
the biggest thing that I am passionate about in my work is specifically women and women's involvement with their money. So a lot of our messaging as women is that money isn't really our space and that we don't really need to know anything about it. And yet we as women are in charge of at least 85, sometimes 100% of the consumer decisions within our homes. We are the money spenders, we are the money users. And so when women step back from their involvement in their money, understanding exactly where their money is coming from and where their money is going, it causes a lot of strain in their life. They get overwhelmed or intimidated. It causes friction if they have a money partner, like a spouse or a long-term partner. And because, if you are used to being a woman that runs her home, is active in her career, can just do all these what women do, right? Superhuman
Hmm.
things. And you step, you have this area of your life that you are avoiding because you don't feel as knowledgeable as you think you should. It's not perfect in your mind of how you interact with the money. A lot of women step back from that. And so my overall true passion is getting women to lean in and step forward into their ownership of their money, understanding it, and really taking mastery over it so that they can use it to create opportunity in their lives that they wouldn't have otherwise had.
Hmm.
So that's my biggest passion. I find that it improves partnerships, it improves overall home thriving and wellness, and I just want every woman to know that she can manage her money and she would be
Hmm.
really good at it, that she's great at making decisions and she can use that in this area of her life too. So that's one of my passions. The second one is by impacting the woman. I feel like I'm impacting generations to come because women are most often a primary caregiver role in the home. And so having that role just be infused with money confidence and money power is only going to create a new generation of stronger, wealthier, more generous people in my mind. And so hopefully the ripple effect is contagious and amazing.
Yeah, they're big goals and big passions, and I love the focus on women and the kind of taking control of money there. So you mentioned wellness, so let's jump to that topic and thinking about the connection between wellness and wellness, as in physical wellness and financial wellness. So where do you see those connections?
Oh my goodness. Their physical wellness is my favorite analogy for money, right? Like the health of your money and the health of your body are so, so similar. And so I use it as an analogy quite frequently, but in the literal space, money drives our health in a lot of ways, from the choices we make at the grocery store to the activities we allow ourselves to be involved in, or we involve our families in, or our children. And so, because money is such a big factor in the steps we take towards our wellness, I think the overlap is undeniable that if you can manage your money, you can actually live a life that is overall covered in wellness, because your money choices don't feel scarce. And so, you're not as likely to cut out literally being healthier, right? So you're not as likely to cut out going to the gym because you don't need to save that extra $100 a month, because your money is in a stable place. Or you might be more likely to pick up fresh fruits and vegetables at the grocery store rather than frozen meals or more processed foods, because you're not worried that processed foods are 99 cents and a head of broccoli or a pound of broccoli is going to break the bank, right? Because it's closer to $3.50. You don't have to make those micro choices if you feel like you have plenty of money. And what I've found is that the feeling of enough money is so important to feeling the freedom to make the healthiest choices for you.
Hmm. What do you think are in your experience working with clients, what do you see as the biggest challenges to managing money well? And then are those similar to or different from the challenges we might see in being well and making those healthy choices?
So I think the biggest overlap in making healthy choices, both in finances and for your body, is the idea of taking one little right step at a time. So just like if you have health goals for your body, that's not going to happen overnight. It doesn't happen with just one, exercise session or one really healthy meal. It is the idea of persistently pursuing one little right choice at a time to make that health goal happen. And that's the same way I think about money. Like a lot of times people want a magic button for their money, just the same way that they want that swimsuit body, right? And so the real overlap here is that it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen with one marathon session of looking at your finances. It happens with one little right choice persistently over time in order to restructure the body of your finances, so that it has a fitness level the same way with your body that makes you feel strong, that makes you feel confident, that gives you that glow, that gives you that just overall feeling of capability, if
Mhm.
that makes if I'm making
Yeah,
sense.
total sense. I think it's a beautiful metaphor for how those things are, function similarly. And I think it helps wrap my brain around the work that you're doing with financial wellness. So I know that physical activity is an important part of your own life and your own success and wellness. Could you talk about why physical activity is important to you?
Well, physical activity is important to me on multiple levels. One, I am an adult with ADHD. And so moving my body is a way for me to calm basically every mental, emotional, and physical cell that I've got. So I find that I am in constant movement anyway. Even as we're sitting here, I'm like rocking my foot back, on the chair.
Yeah.
Like I can feel
Mhm.
my ankle just kind of like doing circles. And so if I didn't have physical activity, I think literally I might jump out of my skin. Quite literally, I would come out of my skin. So on a very basic level, it keeps me foundationally firm and grounded, to just be in movement, purposeful movement, intentional
Mhm.
movement, where I push my body a little. Even before, so for example, before we came to this meeting today, I could feel my mind doing what it does and trying to run away with itself. And so I carved out time this morning intentionally to make sure that I could do a very grounding yoga practice, just so that I could pull my body and my mind back into one place, so that I could be extremely present, so that when I came here, I wasn't talking too fast or, word vomiting on your listeners, which could happen.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for the ability to use movement,
Mhm.
um, just on that basic level. And then in an additional level, my daughter is 7 and she comes to me all the time still wanting to be picked up and carried. And I am 5'1" and 122 pounds. And she is over half my body size already. And so picking her up and carrying her, I knew when she was younger that I wouldn't be able to do this as long as I want to, as long as she needs, if I didn't improve the strength in my body and keep my body strong, for that purpose. And so now she's funny. If you ask her, my 7-year-old, why I do any sort of like weighted workout, she'll say, "Oh, mommy lifts weights so she can lift me."
I
And
love
so,
that.
and so really my
Mhm.
purposes for moving are very basic. It keeps me from jumping out of my skin, and it keeps me in a space of motherhood that I'm going to try to hold on to as long as I possibly can, of literally carrying my children. But those are my two big drivers for wellness.
So those sound like some of your motivations for wellness. What are some of the challenges or what things make it hard for you to be active in the context of your daily life?
So one, my job requires me to sit quite a bit because I run my practice. My money coaching practice is set up in a therapeutic model. So I meet with my clients for 50 minutes once a week using the online platform Zoom. And so I sit quite a bit and my sessions are often back to back with 10 minutes in between each one. And so the challenge is trying to make sure that I don't put myself last, which I think as women, we tend to do that anyway. And then with my ADHD brain, I fight with the battle of consistency and being able to be consistent. And so one of the things that I had to learn was that exercise was exercise. And when I fit it in, was a victory, not a loss. So if I did yoga today, but I was supposed to be doing a workout program that I had shifted to, then I give myself grace for needing to switch and listening to my body. Or if I don't work out for 3 days in a row, I don't beat myself up and say, oh, well, I should have been doing it, so it's a lost cause. I just pick back up with the idea that it's a continual ebb and flow of being intentionally active, and that it's okay if there's gaps in that activity. It's okay if the activities need to look different every day. It's okay that you said you were going to go to cycling and you didn't go because you needed to rest. So I think that's the biggest challenge, is just giving myself forgiveness for my inconsistency. That is natural to me anyway, because ADHD. Giving myself grace for that inconsistency, and then giving myself just the space to fail at it or be bad at it, to fall over if I'm in yoga, or to not be able to finish my set if I'm lifting weights, or if the best I can do today is a walk around the neighborhood, then that's the best I can do today. Because time is a factor, and I've got 3 small kids. And so that's, it is hard to put you first. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is just making that one little right decision that, no, I get to go first, me first. I need to take care of you today. And I don't always do that, and I fail. So I if anybody's listening and that's your challenge too, you're not alone.
So you've mentioned your children a few times, and I'm wondering if you could just talk about your family's values around wellness and how you prioritize not wellness just for yourself, but also for your family.
So we are being more and more intentional. My husband, bless him, has been into weightlifting for almost the entire time I've met him. And he's just recently, in the last 2 years, really been hardcore, never miss a day, going from challenge to challenge kind of thing. After having 3 small children at home, he's finally been able to get back into the more steady routine for himself. And really, he was a big pusher for me post children, really getting back into a routine for myself, because I watched his overall mental and emotional improvement would come with his physical health, and that feeling of strength and capability. And so I started being more and more consistent. Like I said, my daughter knows exactly why, I work out is so that I lift weights so I can lift her. And so with our kids, we've just always been encouraging them to move their bodies as much as they can throughout the day. And so we are, as a family, we do, walks all the time. We ride bikes. We like to go, we do all day swimming events in our backyard. And so there's just in a plastic pool, by the way, not like a fancy in-ground one, not like a blow up pool for the backyard. But just, playing, moving. We do kid yoga with them. We do dance parties, just like this idea that our bodies weren't meant to be in stillness all the time. And so let's just keep them in motion. My kids actually are starting to show signs of ADHD as well. And so it helps them manage their minds and emotions too, if they can be in that kind of, even just 2 minutes at a time, intentional
Mhm.
movement. And so as a family, that's really what we're going for, is just we call them body breaks, right? Like we're just
Yeah.
in constant body break from screens or from even in anger. I notice with my younger ones, my son is 3.5 and he's in that gorgeous time where he thinks he's big, but he's not all the way.
Mhm.
And so he'll forget his words if he's in the middle of a tantrum. And I find that if we can get him to just move for a minute, um, and move his body, even just like arms up, arms down, arms up, arms down, stomp your feet, right? Like
Mhm.
he forgets why he's mad, and that emotion can release in a very healthy way. And he can come back to us,
Yeah.
and we can come back to him, and we can all calm down a little bit quicker with just some intentional movement, um, that's endorphin releasing. So
Mhm.
it's our family's safety net. Really, movement is our safety net. It's how we shift moods. It's how we uh, keep well. It's how we build memories together too.
Mhm.
So it's just an integral part of who we are as a family.
That's what I was going to say. It sounded like there was a lot of fun interjected in there and that you were doing a lot of the activities together. So it wasn't just like, yes, so and so does this and so does this, but we're engaging together and having fun doing it, sounds like.
It is, we do have a lot of fun. Sometimes it's literally a lifeline, but for the most part, we get to the fun part. We get to the fun point, which is super nice.
So, what do you hope as an active mom and your husband too, as active parents, what do you hope that your children see and learn from you?
So the first thing I want them to see and to learn is that activity is fun, and that doing it isn't a punishment. We don't do activity to punish our bodies or to manipulate our bodies or to, um, you know, because we hate our body. That's not why we're active. That's not why we're doing what we do. We're doing what we do because we love our bodies. And this is the
Hmm.
only body we get. And that taking care of it um, today is taking care of it tomorrow. And so the model that we're trying to set up is you love yourself. And because you love yourself, you are active. Whatever activity means to you for whatever you need that day. Like,
Hmm.
which is why we don't do organized sports right now. I don't want to pressure that kind of activity as something that needs to be practiced and over again with pressure and pressure and pressure. I want activity to be a enjoyable thing that they find they find the thing that they're interested in. So we let them
Hmm.
follow their interests with their activity. And, we play soccer in the yard, and we, do gymnastics in the living room, and we have dance also in the living room, right? And we, do swimming, but in the plastic pool out back, right? Like
Yeah.
we just allow a lot of, I think you and I talked about it. We tried to coin a term, this child led, right? This
Mhm.
child led, what do we call it? Oh, D, what was it? It was
Child-led sporting, or I think,
yeah,
or yeah.
child led activity. And so I really hope to model that for my kids. And the other thing I want to model for them very intentionally is that wellness is a priority. And so they see us spend money on
Hmm.
wellness. They see us at the grocery store making the healthier choices, right? And that's not to say that like we always make the healthier choices, right? Like
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
I love a little Caesar's pizza as much as anybody. And so, sometimes that's the, the choice that we want to make, but it's so intentional and it's so balanced in our life right now. And I think that's the other thing I want to teach them is that they get to choose what balance means to them for their bodies. And that overindulgence isn't necessary if you have that kind of health security within yourself, and you can choose to um, regulate your own body. And so we're trying to model that. We're trying to model spending money on our health now so that we don't have to spend money on our health later when it's
Hmm.
declining, right? We would rather build up um, a healthy bank, I guess, a healthy body bank, and so that
Yeah.
we can cash in on it later kind of idea. So we try to model those. I would say those three things the most. You move because your body needs you to move because you love moving, because you love your body. You spend resources on your health, so time, energy, and finances. And then your body is yours to take care of. So this sense of agency of what making a balanced choice for your body looks like.
Mhm. And I love how you just work in financial metaphors and language in there. We're talking about
Money
wellness. So you like
connects
can't help it,
to
right?
everything. Money is connected. And money drives all of our decisions, whether we like it or not. Most of the time, people are looking at their bank account to make the decision for them. And
Mhm.
so I am trying to model for my children in all areas of life that I make my decisions and then I become resourceful in order to make them happen. And
Mhm.
so if I'm making the choice towards health and wellness, maybe I can't go to the gym. Maybe the bank account is already capped and a gym membership that's $99 a month just isn't going to work for us right now. It's going to be too much of a stretch, but I want a health journey. Well, then I am dedicated to getting on YouTube and doing floor exercises in my living
Mhm.
room, right? Like, no, I couldn't spend money at this time, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to spend the precious resource of my time engaging in that physical activity that I want to get me to my health goals. Or maybe the budget is tight at the grocery store, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to make my healthiest choices possible, right? Like, so switching out maybe white pasta for whole wheat.
Mhm.
Or going ahead and seeing if I can get some frozen vegetables, like what's on sale right now and can I freeze it, just like using that time and energy resource as much as I would use money, to make sure that I'm making the choices I want to make for my health
Mhm.
and then finding ways to fund them, um, whatever funding means. So time, energy, or money.
Yeah, love it. So if there's a mom or a parent out there who is listening, what tips, strategies, advice would you give to them about staying well?
One, it is not a milestone, it's an everyday. It's every day, and every day is a wellness choice. So if you're going to choose not to work out, actively choose not to work out. Don't find an excuse. Don't, like let time get away from you, air quotes. Just say, I'm not doing it today. Because then every choice becomes yours and you take ownership of your wellness journey. So whether you work out or not, you decided. And that it lends itself to a sense of agency that gives you more and more permission to work out when you want, and you'll want to more often because nobody's making you. It's just your decision whether or not you want to do it. So that's thing one. Make it your decision whether it is to work out or not to work out, to be
Mhm.
active or not to be active within that day. Thing two, I would say, is that just because you missed a week doesn't mean that you're not working out anymore, right? Like, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you're not on a health journey anymore. You just had a week off in your health journey, just like we go take vacation
Mhm.
from our job, right? Like, it doesn't mean we don't have a job when we get back.
Yeah.
We just took a vacation. So think of your wellness that way. Like, if for whatever reason you're off the wagon for the week, then it's okay. Like, you're just on vacation. We're just going to come back from
Mhm.
vacation and go right back into our, you know, whatever we were doing. And it's not a big deal. So whether you've been gone a day, a week, a month, a year, as the Friends theme song would like us to believe, um, it's okay. Just come back, right? Just come
Mhm.
back to your wellness journey and start where you are. It's not a starting over. It's just starting where you are right now. So those would be the two big things I would say. And then just if you're like me and you have a neuroatypical brain, or even you don't have a neuroatypical brain, but consistency is hard, just being so forgiving of that, and really loving yourself through this journey of trying to make yourself stronger, healthier, today so that you can be stronger and healthier tomorrow. Because every decision we make today builds the tomorrow we're going to get. And so, I don't know, maybe that's the last one, is your future self going to thank you or curse you because of the decisions you're making today? Right. And so I want more thank yous from my future self than cursing. It's just my personal goal. So if
Yeah.
anybody wants to adopt that one, they can.
Yeah, I love that. So many good nuggets in there that we can share. So if we have audience members who want to reach out to you as a money coach or connect with you in some way, how can they reach you?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm on Facebook. NSH Money Coaching is my business page. And then on Instagram, I'm NSH Money Coach. And then I also have an email address that anybody could email me with, which is just, and it's nshmoneycoach@gmail.com.
Great.
So any of those ways, I would love to hear from your audience. That would be an absolute honor.
Well, I thank you so much for your time today and sharing your perspectives on financial and physical wellness.
I'm so glad you had me, Dee. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you for listening to the Champions of Active Women podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Active Women's Health Initiative and the Sports Medicine Research Institute within the College of Health Sciences at the University of Kentucky. This episode was produced by the Faculty Media Depot. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with your social networks, or simply tell a friend about us. If you want to help us sustain the Champions of Active Women podcast, donate to the Active Women's Health Initiative at uky.networkforgood.com. For up-to-date information about our initiative, follow us on social media at UKAWHI. Thank you for joining us as we empower all girls and women to become athletes for life.